James Foye, better known as Keyz, is part of the Grammy-winning production duo The Upperclassmen. In the early years of high school, James was making beats and immersing himself in music. His talent did not go unnoticed either, receiving a Grammy nomination before he even graduated from college. How did James get traction so early on in his career? Being talented definitely helps, but if you ask him, it's all about networking. Meeting people and building connections are critical parts to the music industry, and as James' network grew, so did his success. That all culminated in a Grammy win last year for his work on the Cardi B album Invasion of Privacy. We sat down with James to talk about his journey and get some advice on this episode of Big Break.
I was born in Clinton, Maryland, and my father is from Buffalo. So him and my mom, they moved back to Buffalo, like when I was like a year old. Yeah, I grew up in Buffalo, New York. Went to high school and everything there. I graduated in 2009. After that, I came to Atlanta in 2010, and I've been here ever since. I came out here for school. I ended up going to a school called the Atlanta Institute of Music first. It was a 1-year degree program. I learned Pro Tools and Logic and everything, the basic stuff. And then I transferred over to the Art Institute of Atlanta. I finished up and got my degree there. That was very important for my mother. She wanted me to really pursue education. I didn't feel like I needed it, but everything worked out, and it definitely was beneficial for me. And so I graduated there, got my bachelor's degree in recording arts, audio production. And yeah, I've just been working ever since. I was working even while I was in school, as far as in the industry. I had a couple of placements while I was in school. Everything just kind of been up from there. You know what I mean?
So you were interested in music, kind of as a teenager and going to high school?
Yeah. So I was interested in. It was more like a hobby though. Like I was really heavy in sports, like football and basketball. Mm-hmm. And it was around like my sophomore year, junior year, like that summer, where I really started to fall in love with music. And senior year, I was completely like, I knew this is what I wanted to do. You know what I mean?
So you were you playing around with like Pro Tools and stuff by that point, or just kind of messing?
Yeah, I was messing around with Fruity Loops a little bit back then, mm-hmm. and Reason. And my boy had Fruity Loops, so I was messing around on his computer with it, and I had Reason on my little laptop. Then we also had like a little 8-track that we used to record, so I was using that, and different keyboards and stuff like that. So it wasn't really until I came to school where I started to really dig deep into the programs. You know what I mean?
And I assume you're pretty interested in like listening to music and kind of figuring it out. And was that fun for you, like picking apart, like knowing what sounds people were using in the tracks and kind of going back and forth?
Yeah, that was super super cool for me. And it also helped me even today, just understanding sonics and what sounds to use and what sounds are dated or how to tweak different sounds and everything like that. You know what I mean?
So what were you learning when you were in school, aside from like the basics of programs and stuff? Like were you learning like how the music industry works, how to connect with people and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. We learned a lot about publishing and basic contracts and everything like that. That was my first time really learning about that stuff. We also learned about like film scoring and sound design, just a bunch of stuff that I actually took a liking to, and that I know how to do because of school. You know what I mean? Sound design was like really big, just they'll give us a video with no sound to it. We have to create everything to it. You know what I mean? Just like, you see on commercials or movies or whatever. Just, learning how intricate that was and just how every little movement has to have something go with it. Very super, just cool to me. And I still love it to this day. I plan to do it and get into it one day. You know what I mean? For real. So. Yeah,
I hear that a lot where people, they're working with commercial stuff, but they there's like this fascination with the production world and scoring stuff that's
Yeah,
it's hard to get off of.
yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Cool. But man,
Yeah.
you must have like a super head start. I mean, a lot of people get into the industry or they get really, really good at producing or doing something and they get like a huge placement and they get big and they had no idea like that they should have a publisher or that they, should read their
Mhm.
contracts closely. So that must have been like a
Absolutely.
huge head start for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a huge head start. I always, even when I was in high school, like my 9th and 10th grade, I wanted to go to school for business. I always was huge on that. And so when it turned into me going, wanting to do music, I always kept that business mindset of, always knowing, the business side of things. And I was very intrigued with the music business because it's amazing. It's great. You know what I mean? I love how business is done in the music. And so I was very big on like learning, points and publishing and splits and, credit and publishing deals and everything like that. And so I got on the ball early. You know what I mean? And also, like while I was in school, my first placement, I didn't get paid for it. So right off the rip, I started learning like the business side. So I never want to go through that again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's crucial. You got to have that business acumen in the industry nowadays.
Absolutely.
I mean, everyone does. It used to be you could be the creative and everyone else could handle the business, but everyone needs to have that knowledge now.
Absolutely, man.
Cool. What kind of placements were you getting in school?
So my first placement I got in school was the song called "Let's Talk" featuring Omarion. Me and my partner Ayo, we did that song. And that was my first placement. So that was like crazy because it was playing, like I would literally be leaving school and get on the expressway and it will be on the radio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But nobody at school knew it. Like it wasn't until like some time passed where people like was like, yo, you did, you know what I mean? I was just real low key and chill, you know what I mean? So it was that one, and the next one was a song called My Man. It was Rick Ross, Meek Mill, and Rocky Fresh. And that came out on South Main 3. And that was my second placement. And then as I was graduating, like my last year, I believe the next one was a song called Wickedest Style. It was Sean Paul featuring Iggy Azalea.
Uh-huh.
That got me my first Grammy nomination. So, yeah, those are kind of the three that were, going on while I was in school.
Man, how were you getting those? How were you like?
Just networking, man. I would literally, like my whole story is like I meet somebody who introduced me to somebody, who introduced me to somebody, who introduced me to somebody else. You know what I mean? Like that's like I could literally start from the beginning and say how I met somebody was through all of these people. And so I just came out here and I didn't know anybody. I just, started meeting people and they started connecting me with other people. And I just got cool. And so, I eventually got in touch with Polo the Don as far as the Sean Paul record. And me and him worked, and that's how that happened. The Omarion Let's Talk and the Rick Ross, My Man record, that happened through Spiff TV. He used to work for MMG. And so we did the record. We produced the beat. We had our boy Chris Eccles write something, top line to the song, which was Omarion Let's Talk. And we sent it to Spiff because we knew that they were signing Omarion. And so he got the record. He played it for Omarion. He loved it. And that's how that happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So did you have some tracks in your pocket that you would like, you'd take these people and be like, oh, this would be perfect for rock?
Yeah. I was already working. You know what I mean? I already had a bunch of stuff and was like really working on my craft. You know what I mean? Now at this point, I was just trying to make those little chess moves. Yeah, because we were new, so nobody knew who we were. You know what I mean? Who I was, and so just making those connections. You know what I mean? And that's why I tell people all the time, man. As long as the music is good and you're doing your homework, that will cut through everything. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So you get a Grammy nomination and you haven't even gotten like your degree yet.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah. So like, for us to win this year, like 4 or 5 years later is like super crazy.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, yo, I remember when I got my first Grammy nod, and I'm still in school. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just going to class. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, literally when I was in LA that year for it, I was graduating in a couple months. So that was a big year for me. You know what I mean? Because I got a Grammy nod, and then I graduated from college. It was cool. So
yeah, it's like something that people like build their whole careers up to. It's like there's
absolutely.
6, 7, 8 years in the business, and they haven't gotten a Grammy nomination yet. So you're just cool, man.
Absolutely.
So what happens? Yeah. What happens after you graduate from school and you're kind of out in the real world and you're ready to really hit the grindstone?
Yeah, so I'm out in the real world. I start we say, just network, and that's such a broad and like cliche statement, but it's like it's so much like networking can bring you. You know what I mean? And if you just connect with the right people and you just meet them, and you don't force relationships. A lot of relationships I had, I just let just kind of do their thing. You know what I mean? And so those relationships and the people that I met, it allowed me like to go to. I was in Korea for a week at SM Entertainment, and I was in Japan for a week working on like J-pop music. And then I was, just getting in the studio with different people, and then like all these opportunities just started coming out of nowhere. You know what I mean? And so what was that? 2015. So yeah, after that we got close with Bryson Tiller. Ended up having a song on his project called Open Interlude. After that, we had another song with Omarion that he put on his mixtape. After that, we had another song with Fab. He put on his mixtape. Then we had a song with Monica that she put on her album. Then there's a song that we did with Bryson that he didn't keep for himself, but he gave to Chris Brown, and that ended up being on his album. And that song is called Proof. So the year was just crazy for me. That was like one of the best years of my life, literally after I graduated. Like, yeah, it's like that year and this year, it's been crazy. But out the gate for me to just kind of finish school and do my thing, like that was a super incredible year. And so from then, it's literally just been up from there.
I think a lot of people, they hear like networking's key, but like they don't really know like where to start.
Right.
Maybe they're sitting in Buffalo and like there's not a lot of music around them. They're not in Atlanta or LA or New York.
Right.
Are you like DMing people and just saying like, yo, let's connect, let's produce something together, or are you like going out to clubs and meeting people there, or like what's how do you start? I guess is the question.
Me first started networking like in school. So there was this guy named Emmanuel that I met that knew a guy named Brian who was like a music director for like Sierra and Rick Ross and everything like that. Brian's guy was a guy named Benny Blanco. And Benny Blanco was a songwriter and producer. Actually, Benny Blanco, I'm not sure if you are familiar with the song The Get Up now that's out, the country song. Yeah, so that's him. So he introduced me to him back then. And so, Benny was like, yo, I'm working on a bunch of stuff and everything like that. And so we started connecting and working, like on Sierra and Lloyd. And so then he introduced me to his big homie named Jasper. Jasper's written hits for Christina Aguilera and Sierra and Chris Brown, and the list goes on. So I linked up with him. So it was just like literally me just meeting people and them introducing me to other people and everything like that. Also, what I used to do was I used to go to all of the industry events, like anything that was going on, I was there. So like, people, even when I go back home to speak, like a place like Buffalo, like you said, it's not a lot going on, but you have to be willing to travel, you know what I mean, and get to these people. If they're not in your city, you have to, hit these conferences and hit these, because you're going to meet people. You could network. You never know where those relationships can lead you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I literally would go and, I would go to these industry events, and BMI would be throwing something, or ASCAP would be throwing something, or whoever. It didn't matter. I was there. You know what I'm saying? And I was meeting people, and the industry is small, so especially in Atlanta. So you start going places, you start seeing a lot of the same people. You know what I mean? And it's like, yo, what's up, man? I met you, a couple months ago at the BMI event, man, good to see you again. Oh, what's up, buddy? Yeah, let's connect. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a good place to start, man. It's just like really being in tune with what's going on in the culture and the music business and being there. And that's literally, how you can help your career go to the next level.
Makes sense. Just surround yourself with it and have it flow from there.
Absolutely.
Cool. So what happens after 2015? You kind of have this crazy year. You get a Grammy nom, and it's like, all right, what's next?
2016 was like a slow year. Yeah. We had a bunch of records that came out like in that fourth quarter, and then 2015, and then 2016 was like slow. I remember like maybe one song maybe coming out, maybe two, and then 2017 it picked back up again. We had another record on Bryson Tiller's album. Then we ended up having two on Chris Brown's Heartbreaking on Full Moon album. And then it was a couple other records that came out. Oh, Wiz Khalifa, Something New came out that year as well, featuring Ty Dolla $ign.
Mm-hmm.
So it started moving again, you know what I mean? And, of course, I'm just doing my thing, and you never stop. You got to keep working. You know what I mean? Even after like that 2015 fourth quarter and 2016, it was getting slow. It could get discouraging for sure. But I just kept working, kept making these moves, kept going to events, and I went on tour with a buddy of mine named LA. Kept going to LA, working in these studios, going to New York, Miami, just moving around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
2017, I went on tour with Kid Ink and my buddy Bert Simmons. We did a European tour, so I was over there for like a month and a half, and that just brought so much inspiration and so much creativity. I'm in Paris and Warsaw, Poland, and Czech Republic, and just all type of crazy places, and just working, man. You know what I mean? Got my laptop, got my equipment, and just cranking out beats and sending them out to all these relationships that I've created over the course of time that I was in school and now. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's kind of how that happened. And then 2018, which last year, we had a great year. A lot of records came out. Still just continue to do the same thing in the studio day and night. Ended up landing one on Cardi B's debut album, a song called Bickenhead, which just helped the entire year of 2018. Yeah, we got Grammy nominated again. We got Grammy nominated twice for her album. It got Best Rap Album, and it got Album of the Year. And so then, top of this year, Grammys hit. We ended up winning Best Rap Album, and that's crazy.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And so now, we keep working, keep going crazy. And this summer, well, I say between like March or April to now, we've had at least like 15 placements that have came out, So it's been a blessing.
Yeah. Yeah. Working definitely. You got there's a lot of records coming out that I see you and both AO's name on there, and it's like, these guys are definitely grinding.
Yeah.
So did you guys get affiliated with like a record label or like a publisher after kind of like that initial success at all, or are you still just kind of like independent?
So what I ended up doing was AO and myself, we always said we wanted to do. It was kind of the decision that we made at the time. If I could go back, I think I would do it a little differently. But, the future is still bright, so we might make some changes to that. But we said we would go with different publishers just so we can, even though we're a unit, we would just have different opportunities to bring to the table. So, I ended up doing a publishing situation, and then he ended up doing a publishing situation. This was like, I want to say like 2016. And, publisher deals, they're publisher deals. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And, helped us to be comfortable and be able to really focus on our work and really take everything to the next level. And so we really got closely affiliated with Atlantic Records as well, because we got a lot of records coming out of their label.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of our situation. You know what I mean?
As a growing artist or songwriter, keeping royalties coming in is important for keeping the bills paid. It's also important to keep an eye on those royalty payments. A lot of people we worked with here at Royalty Exchange were having a tough time making sense of the royalties that are getting paid. So we built a free tool called Know Your Worth that automatically analyzes every royalty payment made on your music. It breaks it all down in an easy-to-understand analysis with some insights that would be impossible to find elsewhere. Plus, it connects you with the thousands of investors on Royalty Exchange and allows them to make you offers on your music. So far, musicians have raised over $1 million for new projects, new ventures, and a whole lot of other things just through the Know Your Worth app. If you're earning royalties, you should be keeping track of them, and Know Your Worth makes it easy. It only takes about 3 minutes to connect an account, and the tool will automatically update over time. Just visit worth.royaltyexchange.com or find the link in the show notes to get started. Now, let's get back to the interview. That's interesting. I haven't heard, kind of that division of labor or, like two different publishing deals for like a kind of a, I guess maybe not a duo, but like like guys that work together a lot.
Yeah, for sure. It was just something that we came up with. Like, yo, you think we should go like the same publisher? Or you think? I'm like, we do everything together anyway. So like, why would I go over here and you go over here? And you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It just kind of all worked together. And, everybody knows we're a team. So AO's publishing company, we ended up doing a joint venture deal with them, with our company, our label, the Upperclassmen Music Group. And now we're able to sign writers and producers. You know what I mean? So everything kind of just worked out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's cool. So are you like actively looking for other writers and producers to start working with right now?
We signed 4 producers as of now. We just cleared the paperwork for a songwriter that's based out of Africa. She's moving back here in the States. She went to school here, but she's from Africa. And she's moving back here as soon as we get this deal done. So we have 4 producers and 1 writer. And 3 of them are signed to our JV. We're going to get the other guys signed over there soon. But yeah, we're looking. You know what I mean? Right now the roster is right where we kind of want it. But we're looking for like maybe 1 or 2 special people to add to the roster since we've signed them. Like the writer, her name is Z. She's been able to get a placement with us on Tiana Taylor's new album. 2 of our other producers had a song on Chris Brown's last album. So we're moving them around and getting them work. You know what I mean? So, to make sure everybody's happy and make sure, everything is moving the way it should be. The roster is kind of good right where it is right now, but we are looking for like maybe 1 or 2 more people to kind of, help and, get them to where they want to go.
What's that like? Kind of like changing up how your work goes, where like you're looking for both other creative people and trying to manage that, but also trying to manage your own.
Yeah, man, it's a lot. It's a lot at times because we have that and we have an artist by the name of Asia Graves. So kind of being a producer and we still. We got a lot of placements, but we don't feel like we've had our moment just yet, like that huge record. You know what I mean? So even though we're on a chase to get that, it could be a lot while you're trying to be creative and do that, and then having these young people who are dependent on you as well. It's definitely a lot. But what you have to do is, I always wanted to be that CEO guy. I always wanted to be that boss guy, and I also understand transitioning. I also understand that I may not be able to produce forever. You know what I mean? Just because of, it changes. New guys are coming up. As a 14-year-old in his room right now who's going to be a beast in 10 years. You know what I mean? 10 years from now, I'm going to be almost 40 years old. So I get it. You know what I mean? You got to kind of transition with the time. So I always want to put myself in position to be ready for that. But the important part of it is building a team. I have a team full of A&Rs. I have a team full of managers who manage our creatives. I have a person who does marketing, and we got a great little like thing going on. You know what I'm saying? And it helps me and AO to kind of really just do what we need to do and still be able to be creative at the same time.
Yeah. So are you like modeling this kind of organization you're building after anything that you've seen, like any other business or any other?
Yeah. Like I'm very inspired by QC, very inspired by like Cash Money,
Mm-hmm.
very inspired by like Drake. What's his? I can't think
OVO.
of his OVO. Yeah. Very inspired by a lot of my executive friends who have JVs with these labels, or, who have their own labels but have joint ventures with the major labels, and just people, labels that you may not be familiar with, but I know these people and I see what they have going on, and I see how they're moving, I see how they're pushing their artists and the producers and everything like that. You know what I mean? That's who I model after, you know what I mean, and who I look up to and would like to be like, you know what I mean? And I think we're going to get there for sure. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah. I mean, you got the Grammy win under your belt. So, there's definitely some street cred there to be had.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. Tell me about your relationship with AO and kind of like how that, I mean, you guys met obviously in Atlanta, but how do you guys like work together? Do you think that's like really been beneficial? Like, would your career be really different if you'd never met him? Like,
yeah, I think. Well, me and AO, we met through a mutual friend at the time. Somebody we were both cool with, and he brought AO to Atlanta to come. They both wanted to take a trip from Orlando to Atlanta, and kind of kick it for the weekend. And this was back in like 2010. It was like right when I moved to Atlanta. So I didn't know what to do, or I was just meeting people. So it's cool to meet new people, and we just hit it off. You know what I mean? And that's been my best friend and my brother since. And so how we work is we just send ideas back and forth through the internet or on FaceTime, or like, oh, I'm working on this, I'm working on this, send that to me, let me add this to that. I mean, you know what I mean? And we just have this kind of just connection and glue that just makes it work. You know what I mean? Because we're equally talented. I mean, there's a lot of great things that AO does that I can't do. There's a lot of things I do that it just works hand in hand. So we just kind of put all that in the pot, and we make it work. And the thing about it too is, like, if you look at a lot of these credits and everything like that, and we kind of realized this like back when people weren't really collaborating, like everybody who's working on stuff, like it's like 3 or 4 producers on them, like on every song. So we saw that early, like, yo, we might as well just do this together. You know what I mean? So I definitely feel like my career would be different if I didn't have him. You know what I mean? Because we push each other daily, just not with music, just with life. You know what I mean? And like even just on a personal level, like I think everything would be different if I didn't have somebody who was like holding me accountable of how I do business and how I hold myself, and my work ethic and everything like that. And I do the same for him as well. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's important to have someone to have them there to, like you say, hold yourself accountable, or simply just like bounce ideas off of, or
Absolutely.
Yeah, it sounds like kind of like what's the saying where it's the sum is, or you two are like greater than the sum of the separate parts, or I just butchered that, but you know what I mean?
Right. I get it. It's a fact.
Yeah. Cool. So like, I mean, kind of going back, like you got like Grammy nomination in school. Was there ever a time where you're like, maybe I won't be able to make a career out of this and I'll just go get a job doing something else, like accounting or something? Was there ever that for you?
Yeah, man. It's I had a really dark place. And I look back at it, man, and I laugh because, and I'm now up when I do interviews or panels and everything like that, and I tell people to trust the process. And when I look back on something, like you can lose sight of that. And I had a moment of that. Like it was like around, it was right before our first placement with Let's Talk. Well, my first placement, and I had finished the Atlanta Institute of Music. Remember, I said that was a year school, so I finished that, and I was getting ready to transition over to the Art Institute of Atlanta, and I was broke. I didn't have no money and everything like that, and so I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna go to school right away. I'm not gonna start the Art Institute of Atlanta right away. I'm gonna get a little job and trying to get some money. You know what I mean? And kind of, help out because I'm dead broke. So I go and apply at Comcast. So I'm literally working there. I got the job. I'm working there from like September to the top of November. I've never been able to hold a job more than like a month or two. Like it's crazy. So I end up working at Comcast. I'm calling people, trying to get them to upgrade their service and bundle the TV and phone and internet. And so I remember I was at work one day and it just kind of hit me like, man, is this ever going to work? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I quit, and Thanksgiving was like the next week or two, and I went home and I was just down, man. So I was like, I told my mom and my dad, like, I'm going to stay here for a couple months. So I stayed in Buffalo from November till almost February, right before my birthday. Because I just hit a dark place. You know what I mean? I hit a place where I'm like, man, I don't know if I have what it takes. And so, yeah, I'm at home in Buffalo, and it was like, I think maybe like the top of, I think it was like right after New Year hit, and our boy Chris Echoes, the songwriter, we get an email, and he sends back the reference to Let's Talk. And I'm listening to this, man. I'm like, this is amazing. Like, I could do this. You know what I mean? Like, mind you, it hadn't been placed nowhere. It was just a reference. But me hearing the reference, I was like, wow. And I kid you not, 2 months later, it got placed. So, I went, after I heard that reference, I'm like, it kind of just got me back to where I needed. He said that song and like 2 others, and they were all crazy. And so I was like, okay, let's go. I'm ready to go back to Atlanta. Let's get back to work. I started school as soon as I got back. And then like a month later, the song came out. So it's kind of crazy. So I just tell people, man, just trust the process, man. Like we all, I get it. We're human. And it can seem like there isn't light at the end of the tunnel, but just trust the process. You know what I mean? And then when I look back on it, literally I had a lot of fun in that space too. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Man, everyone has that story though, where it's like, especially in this industry, it seems like just like this daunting, looming like wall that you're never going to be able to get over. Of like,
right?
I can make record, I can make beats for the next 10 years, but like if one doesn't get placed, it's gonna all be worthless. And like,
right?
Everyone, I think everyone gets in that space, especially in this business.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, excuse me, because we're not. As creatives and producers and songwriters, we don't get paid for our time. You know what I mean? Like, we don't get paid for, like, at that point, I was working and I was making 5 beats a day.
Mm-hmm.
And, I didn't get paid for any of those. You know what I mean? You're just putting in the work just to keep going and hopefully something happens and, you're getting better each beat, each song. But we don't get paid for that time. So, it can really hit you. You know what I mean? Like, am I wasting my time? Like, you know what I mean? But you're not. You gotta just keep going. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So yeah.
Yeah. It seems like success is just like a light switch away, but sometimes it's like that light switch is gonna be hard to find or hard to flip. But
right.
Yeah, I think you're totally right on with just trust the process and
yeah, man. It's like, it's a little different when you look at sports because they're actually getting paid for their time. But a lot of people, man, like winning a championship is like the most important thing. They could care less about the money. You know what I'm saying? So you see these guys in the NBA who have been, injured or, been out for a year or two or been traded to 5 or 6 teams. And then they finally, 10, 12 years later, they finally win a championship. Like, like that's the moment that you went That's why you went through all this. You know what I mean? So you just gotta trust the process. For sure.
Yeah. Something else you said is pretty interesting is how musicians don't necessarily get paid for their time. They get paid for their success. Like how good is this song done, and how many people have listened to this.
Right.
It's like it's a blessing and a curse, right? Because if you're really good at what you do, and you can produce those albums that sell, it's like you're killing it. But like at the same time, a lot of people are getting the short end of the stick, where they're working a lot and not seeing a lot of income for that, and it's like
right.
It's kind of a vicious cycle in that way, right?
Absolutely, it is. But at the same time, I tell people all the time too, is like, of course, you would love to get paid for your time, but I have such a passion for music that if I wasn't getting paid for it, like at all, I still would be doing it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where you gotta like kind of see like why you're really doing it. You know what I mean? Like, is this your passion? Is this your goal for real? Like, you know what I mean? If that's the case, then you're gonna like reap the benefits of it at some point in time. But on the same tip, I wish every time I step in the studio, I could clock my hours and get a check at the end of the week. I wish it was like that sometimes too, but it's not, and it's kind of it's like but if it fuels you as well, you know what I mean? It makes you go harder so that you can get these placements and everything like that. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah, so it's it goes hand in hand, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then once you get that success, it seems like the tail is so long. Once the song's out there and it's earning it, or people are listening to it, it's it all builds, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Sure
cool.
does.
Is that something you kind of like discuss with people that you're bringing into your business, like these new writers and producers, like, or do they kind of have that, they already know like how that works, or is that something that you talk to them about?
As far as like just the business and like trusting the process and working.
Exactly.
Yeah. All my guys are fully aware of that, and I let them know like, you guys like have the cheat code. You know what I mean? When we were coming out, me and Ayo, we didn't have people that were helping us. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have people who actually looked out for us and actually put us in contact with lawyers and got the lawyers on the phone with you to go over your contract and make sure you're comfortable with it. We didn't have all that. You know what I mean? So you guys have the cheat code and like, an easier route than we ever had. You know what I mean? And so with that, they're very appreciative and they understand like nothing happens overnight. I've just been happy that we've been able to put some money in their pockets in such a short amount of time since they've been with us. You know what I'm saying? But they're cooking up and working nonstop. It reminds me when I was, their age. I'm 28 now, but when I was 21, 22, 23, I see myself in them and how hard they work and just, them like really just trusting the process. 'Cause that's what we preach. Like, listen, man, you can't force anything. You can't make anything happen in this industry. Like I said, you can't go to the studio, clock in and get paid here. Like you just can't. You know what I mean? But work, one song can change your life. You know what I mean? So, they're very, very aware of that, and they practice it daily. So.
That's good. And it's good they have the cheat code too. I'm sure that's super useful for young writers and producers and stuff. Cool. Absolutely. So aside from like, kind of building out that team and what's coming up for you guys in the next couple of years?
Yeah, so I'm super excited just about our label, our producers, our artists. Like I said, we locked in the joint venture publishing deal. Next is the joint venture label deal. For our company, again, adding more producers and writers to what we have going on. We also, of course, the music is like the most important thing. So we're working on new projects, new acts. The already big acts. New placements are coming out. Even this fourth quarter, we have hopefully like maybe 4 songs on Tiana Taylor's new album. So that's going to be great. Also, we've been transitioning, and me personally, Ayo, he just bought a house. He built a house from the ground up. We just got engaged. You know what I mean? So we're like, that's kind of the space of life we're in right now. We're getting older. and getting married, and it's crazy. So yeah, his house is gonna be done in like 2 weeks. It's beautiful too. Like a new build house is huge. I'm super proud of him. I recently just started investing in real estate, so I did a new build house, and it should be going on the market. We've been building it for like the last 3 or 4 months, and that should be going on the market in the next like month to be sold. So I'm very, very just excited about this stage of investing in real estate and in property.
Yeah, diversifying your income a little bit.
Absolutely. Also got into like the tech world and like cryptocurrency stuff, and I have a buddy who has a company. I did some investing in that, and so that's kind of just what we're on, man. Just get this music and just kind of just pushing it out, and investing and just real life stuff. Like I said, AOC's getting married in April of next year, so it's time to just settle down, have some kids, and and do that. People like they get lost. Like you can still have a life like doing this music stuff. Like that's the one thing I tell people. Like don't get so caught up in being successful that you miss out on life. Even when we were broke, we still have fun. You know what I mean? So we always knew what values were important to us, even when we didn't have anything. So that's kind of what we're on right now. I think that's what like the next year or 2 looks like for us, and after that we'll see.
Yeah, man. I mean, just listening to you talk for the last 40 minutes or so, it's like I'm sure it's all going to be a success, because it seems like you're definitely tied in and got all your everything in the right place.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. It's been a long journey, but it's worked out. We're still going. Like I said, we still feel like we haven't had that moment yet. You know what I mean? So we're still working until we get there.
What it might be a hard question to answer, but what do you think that moment will be, where it's like you can breathe and be like, oh man, we're done, or that's it?
Yeah, I feel like I would be happy with a number 1 Hot 100 record.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be happy with that. I'll be extremely happy with that. We've had like a number 1 urban like AC record, but that's not Hot 100. Right. You know what I mean? We got a lot of placements, and it's crazy. It's funny because that moment back in the day was like I just want to hear my song on the radio. You know what I mean? But now it's like we got like 4, 5, 6 songs playing on the radio at once. So you kind of just evolve and go to the next, go to the next level. And it's like now it's kind of like, okay, we gotta, I think like that Hot 100 record, that number 1. I'll be even a top 10. I'll be cool with. You know what I mean?
Hey man, I think you can make it work.
Yeah. Top 10. So I feel like it's coming. A lot of people around this. The thing about it too, man, is like like you said, a lot of producers, like they'll come in the game and they'll have like 1, 2, maybe 3 hot records, and then they'll just fall off or die off, and you never really hear from them again. And we've been so scared of that. We've just always wanted to be consistent. We always want to be those guys where every quarter you kind of hear something that we got coming out. So I think that's kind of why it's kind of taking us a little more time for us to get to that moment, or our moment, we feel like. But everybody's process is different. Everybody's story is different. We're enjoying ours, and we're gonna keep it going.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate the time. I think it's a cool story, and I'm glad you could tell it.
Yes, I appreciate you guys for having me, man. I'm greatly appreciative.
Thanks for listening to this episode. You can follow James on Instagram and Twitter to see all about his new releases coming out, keep up with his career. You can also follow this podcast by subscribing. Get a new episode in your podcast feed every Tuesday morning. Thanks again for listening. Take care, and we'll see you next Tuesday.